Hello, everybody. Let's just wait just a few seconds to allow people to join, and we'll start right away. Okay, I think that we'll make a start, and if people would like to join us later, very welcome to do that. So welcome everyone to our metadata health check today. And this will be a quick dive into looking at our participation reports and what it means for you. While we settle, please feel free to say hello in the chat with your name, your organization, where you're joining from, and how you're feeling. Maybe just use an emoji to let us know how you're feeling today. Quick reminder, this session is being recorded and we will be sharing the recording afterwards. So if you're not comfortable being on camera during this session, please just feel free to turn your video off. As we kick off our session today, just wanted to start by reminding everyone our code of conduct. We really want all our meetings to be safe, respectful, and productive for everyone. So we ask that you will be mindful of our code of conduct. If you have a complaint about someone's conduct during today's webinar, please message any of the Crossref colleagues that are here today, or just directly send an email, a confidential email to conduct@crossref.org. So let's just get started. Here is our agenda for today. First, we'll start with a refresher on why rich metadata powers the whole research nexus. Then a guided tour of updated participation reports, our tool for spotting gaps in 11 key elements in your metadata records, such as ORCIDs and open references. We'll then give you some time to pick at your participation reports if you wish. Finally, there will be time for you to ask questions you might have about your metadata. For just a bit of housekeeping, please, for questions, we would like to ask you to use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to get your questions answered during the session. This is also really helpful for us because it helps us keep track of the questions that the community has, and also give us the ability to share the answers afterwards with the recording. Also, in case we don't have the answer of your questions today, so we can make sure that we can source the answer internally and share that with you after the webinar. This session will be recorded, as I said. We'll be sharing the recording, and there will also be captioning, and it will be held in English. So if you're just joining us, as I said, please just introduce yourself. Please tell us your name, organization, how you're feeling today. So I'm Rocío. I'm one of the community managers. I'm based in south of Spain. And today is a bit gloomy because it's raining a lot. With me today is Rosa, Communications and Events Manager, as well as Alex, data scientist on our newly formed data science team, who will be helping to answer your questions today. So yeah, lovely to see so many people introducing themselves on the chat. Thank you for that. So let's just get started. And you know that as a Crossref member, you register unique DOIs for each item that you publish, for each content item that you publish, but that you also provide rich metadata alongside each record, so it can be properly contextualized. The research, the metadata that you provide us, the better. And this will be a theme throughout today's session. Rich metadata is really important to us and to the community because it helps making connections between records. As a Crossref member, you also display the DOI for each item on a unique landing page for that published content. And these unique landing pages should contain the full bibliographic information so that the user can verify that they have been delivered to the correct item when they click the DOI link. The DOI on your landing page should be displayed as a clickable URL. On that unique landing page, there should also be an easy way to access the full text of the content. It is acceptable that the full text is behind a login or a paywall, as long as the landing page is accessible to everyone. And just also a reminder that it's not good practice to link directly to a PDF, because doing so will lead to the PDF being to start downloading as soon as the DOI is clicked. It is also important to keep the metadata record associated with the DOI up to date. So for example, something that can easily happen is that the resolution URL of the DOI changes. So it gets updated or moved. So if this happens, that will need to be updated on the DOI metadata record. So what metadata are we talking about when we are talking about metadata? So although we accept metadata records for many different types of content, as you know, we're just going to be kind of using the journal article as an example. For a journal article, basic metadata includes things like titles, dates, author names, abstracts, the DOI itself, the location URL for the landing page, additional metadata that might not be mandatory, but it's definitely recommended to add context and provide a richer metadata record. Includes things like full text URL for similarity check and text mining. You can provide full text URL for text and data mining for example, researchers that are carrying out research or similarity checks URL that allow Turnitin to index your content and include it in the authenticate database. You'll include these URLs if you want to participate in the similarity check service, or if you want to make sure that your content is included when other users check submitted manuscript for similarity to content that is already being published. We also maintain an expansive set of relationship types to support the various content items that a research object, like a journal article, might be linked to, such as, like, for example, relationships such as to peer reviews or data sets or preprints or funding. Here's an example of a metadata record from an item registered by eLife, a metadata record registered by eLife with various metadata elements that we can see here in XML format. So for example, we can see the DOI, and as you look through the record, you will see some other key metadata fields, such as the member that submitted the publisher information, or basic bibliographic metadata such as journal title, article title, publication dates, author names, DOI itself, relationships, whether there are versions, preprints, supplements, or references that are related to this item, funding information such as award numbers or contributors and affiliations represented with other permanent identifiers such as ORCIDs or ROR IDs. All of that metadata, all of these metadata elements and the relationships that I've been talking about so far form a network, and we call this network the research nexus. We envision it as a rich and reusable open network of relationships that connect research organizations, people, things, and actions to provide a full picture of the research cycle to the community. The foundation of the research nexus is the metadata. The research more comprehensive the metadata in Crossref records is, the more value there is for our members and for others, including the future generations. So why is this important? Why do we think the research nexus is it's important? The XML record that I just showed you is just one example of what a metadata record looks like. All the metadata available with Crossref can be accessed using our open APIs. It's open to anyone. The REST API is relied on by a large part of the research information community and beyond, seeing around 1.8 billion requests for information each month. This number has tripled in the last 5 years, which I think is just amazing. Our members are the heaviest users, using it for all kinds of information about their own records or picking up connections like citations and other relationships. Databases, discovery tools, libraries, and governments all use the API. For example, research groups also use it for all sorts of things, such as analysis trends in science and scholarly communication, to look at retractions and corrections. So the chances are quite high that almost any tool that you rely on in your scientific research has somewhere incorporated metadata through us. Metadata and the relationships that they enable are really important to support the whole scholarly research ecosystem in many ways. And some of those ways are research integrity, supporting research integrity, because helping rich metadata records help to provide signals about the trustworthiness of the work, including provenance information such as who funded it. So it adds transparency in that aspect, which organizations and people contributed what, whether something was updated or corrected, and whether it was checked for originality. It also supports reproducibility of research because it helps with discoverability and accessibility of research outputs. And it's also kind of all the relationships between literature, data, software, protocols, and methods. All of that, we believe that supports reproducibility of the research endeavor. It is also really important for reporting and assessment of research and researchers because it helps organizations such as universities, funders, government to track and demonstrate the outcomes of their investments, providing benchmark information. It shows compliance with funder mandates and decides what other research to fund based on evidence, based on their own data. And above all, it increases discoverability. It helps people and systems identify work through multiple angles. So for example, registering content with Crossref makes it possible for work to be found and used. Thousands of systems use Crossref metadata, so therefore the richer the records are, the more visibility there is likely to be of your work, including metadata like abstracts and references are very simple ways to increase the visibility of the item that you publish. I'll be handing over to Rosa now, who will guide you through participation reports. So over to you, Rosa.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Rocio. So I'm having connectivity issues. So I am going to, it's been happening for a couple of days now. So I'm going to keep the camera off for the remainder of the session here, just to reduce the possibility of being disconnected. So Rocio, thank you for advancing the slides for me. Okay, so what are participation reports? Participation reports are the representation of metadata that's available via our free REST API. There's a separate participation report for each member, and it shows what percentage of that member's content includes 11 key metadata elements. And as a member, you can use participation reports to see for yourself where the gaps are in your metadata, and perhaps compare your your performance to others. Participation reports are free and they are open to everyone. So this is the main participation reports interface. And we just saw in the previous slides that the richer your metadata is, which means the more metadata elements you include, the better the chance your content has to appear in one of the downstream tools. And therefore, rich metadata increases the discoverability of your content. But it's not necessarily that easy to find how rich it is by using the APIs or looking at XML like that. So many find it easier to look at something a bit more visual, which is why a few years ago, we created participation reports. And they are available, as I said, online, and they are completely open. Now you can use these to find out how complete your own organization's metadata is. You could also look up metadata completeness for other organizations of your interest. For example, your sister organization or a competitor, just so that you can see and compare. So to start with, I am going to show you what the interface looks like and what it is that you can see. And then once I've finished, we'll open the session up for questions. And at that time, we'll give the link to the participation reports in the chat. And if you want to look up your own organization, then you can ask us any questions that you have about what you're seeing, or essentially anything that you'd like to ask us about the reports. So let me just walk you through the interface here. I have two screenshots. And here is just simply to show you the new interface compared to the previous one. Now, you may be familiar with this. You may have used the participation reports before, and this is just a refresher. But we've tried to keep the bits that work well and only improve the ones that we really need to change. So we have some new features. So if you've used, again, the report in the past, this may look a little bit different. When you first see the participation reports, it looks as you see here, and then you start typing in the name of your organization. And you start to see a drop-down menu appear as it's shown here on the slide. And then you select the organization that you're looking for. Now note, when you enter your member name, it must be the name of your account with Crossref. So what is on your invoice or the name that you use on your sponsored member application. And again, another slide just with the two screenshots, just simply to show you the difference in the interface from what it used to look like to what it looks like now. And you'll notice some new fields or some features here, like the ability to download a gap report, as well as some buttons to select the content type that you want to look at. Now, when you select the desired organization, you will see the main page of the report and the information about that organization. And here is an example of a member's report, eLife. So now let's just take a look at each of the areas here. At the top, you can see the name of the organization and also the total number of items or DOIs that have been registered with us. You can also see for each of these items what percentage of those DOI records contain these key metadata elements, such as references, ORCID IDs, etc. These are the metadata elements that we consider most important to make the content more useful and discoverable. These include references, ROR and ORCID identifiers, funding information, URLs for licenses, abstracts, and the similarity check and crossmark service, if an organization is using these services. And affiliation metadata, current content items, which are items from the current year and 2 previous years. So for example, that would be 2025 back to say 2023. The back file would be content older than 2 years, so 2022 and older, or by all time. Now note that not all the fields will be populated for all of the titles. So for example, content published in 1960 isn't going to have an ORCID, for example. And there are other types of publications that may not have abstracts. Some back issue content won't have much funding detail, the further back you go, and so on. Now, if you publish more than one content type, they will automatically appear. Now, in this example, eLife has journal articles and preprints. Other organizations may also see references, screenshot, to find results for just one of your journals. And the arrow is kind of pointing to the search field. In that case, the report will show the percentage of metadata for that title rather than the total content for that member. Now, this is important as there may be different editors depositing for each journal, and they may not all collect and include the same metadata in their deposits. And I do want to mention that it is possible to register journal article DOIs without an ISSN. you'd need to register a journal title level DOI in place of the ISSN, and this can be removed and the metadata updated once the ISSN is assigned. And you can only find ISSNs in the search field. Now, once you've toggled and you've filtered all of these sections, you will be able to see the results for 11 metadata elements. And each one will have a more information button. And you can see here in the slide where I have an arrow to an I information icon. And when you select it or hover over it, you'll see a brief explanation of what the element is, and then links to why that metadata is important, where you can learn more, and how it can be improved. And this is just in case you're doing some work or you're looking at your report and you just cannot remember what each of these things mean. It's just a really nice little helpful feature. Now let us take a look at these metadata elements individually. So starting with references. This is one of the key bits of metadata to include. References are really important for us to build that picture of the research nexus that we were talking about earlier. Abstracts, you can include your abstracts in the metadata. That might really help with discoverability of your content. You can also see ORCID IDs. These are the unique identifiers for individual researchers that we saw earlier. You can also include funder registry IDs, which help to identify the organization which funded the research and which can be really useful context for researchers when they're reading an article. You might also want to add in specific, fund award numbers. You also have the option of adding in Crossmark information. Crossmark is a service that we offer to help our members register metadata to indicate how current an item or content is and whether it has been updated in some way, corrected, or retracted. You can also add in special URLs, and that's if you're comfortable with researchers doing text and data mining across your content, but you might want to have a specific URL with specific permissions. For example, you may add the license URLs to make it clear what license the content is available under. So whether it's open access, CC BY, or other license types. If you're using the similarity check service, you might want to add the similarity check URLs that allows Turnitin to index your content and include it in the Authenticate database. You'll include these URLs if you want to participate in the similarity check service, or if you want to make sure that your content is included when other users check submitted manuscripts for similarity to content that's already been published. And then finally, there's affiliations and war IDs. This is to help identify which institutions your authors are affiliated with. So that is a quick description of each of the metadata fields in your participation report. All right, so this is the fun part. So now we're going to move towards each of you looking at your own participation report. So if you would like, open up a browser, if you're at a desktop, and go to the URL www.crossref.org/members/prep. And when you're there, you can type in your Crossref member name. If you're having trouble finding your account, or if there aren't, you're not sure what that is, please put that in the Q&A, and we will do our best to help you find it. So I'm just going to hover here a little bit. We're just going to hold here on this screen while some of you choose to look up your report. And meanwhile, we'll just keep an eye on the Q&A if there are any questions, and we'll answer it there about what you're seeing. So I'm just going to break for a moment here and take a look at the chat. I hear tones that something is happening here, so let me just take a look. I do see something in Q&A. How many members are in your record so far? Okay, so my colleague Alex is going to be typing in that answer for you. Thank you very much, Mohammed. And let me just take a look here just for a minute. I feel as if I heard someone may have raised their hand. Okay, maybe they did, and then you have since added the question to the Q&A. Excellent. And if you're just joining, or you kind of want to take a look at what has been asked and answered, just pop over to the Q&A and look at the Answer tab. Okay, so I'm in the chat real quick. And Louise has said, I have typed in the name of our organization as it stands on our invoices and get no results. Okay, so it's Academy of Science, South Africa, or ASSAF. Okay, bear with us just a minute. Give us a chance here and we'll check our system to see if I can find that for you. So just hold tight and we'll take a look. And we do have some questions in there. Alex and Rocio, if they're able to help. So let me see if I'm able to find that in our system. Okay, I do see you in our system here. What I have in the system is, oops, hang on. Academy of Science of South Africa. That's it. Louise, give that a try and see if you're able to find it. I'll pop it up on the report myself over here to see if I can see that. Yes, I do. If you type that, I'll put it in the chat for you. And I'm also going to put the link to that report. Okay, so Alex is typing Umberto. He'll be answering your question now. All right, there's another one here. Aha, it's working. Wonderful, Louise. Thank you. Yeah, have a play about. If you have any more questions, please pop it into the Q&A and we will get that answered for you. So let's see this one here. In some disciplines like law, the citations are in footnotes. And it's very difficult to get references in that way that could be registered with a DOI. Yep, I get that. And then the question is, are there any solutions to that? Okay. I will find out for you. So I'll make a notation of that. I don't have the answer off the top of my head, but hold tight on that. Okay, hang tight here. Still looking through. So I'm looking to see if I can find that answer to that question. And then either, I think Alex is still typing on Umberto's question, but if Rocio, if you have a chance and you're able to look at Mohammed, I think he's got a second question there. Ah, okay, good. One has been, thank you. Great. Umberto, your question has been answered as well as the other ones. Okay, so still looking here. Also, if you look at, okay, Mohammed, I see another question here. Does that mean, Mohammed, if you could maybe pop in the chat or something, that you're trying to find that participation report? Well, I'm going to pop it in the, as part of your answer here. Oh, no, okay. Very less records. Is it right? Oh, I see what you're saying. That's a hard one to answer if that is right. Is your expectation, Mohammed, that you should see more here? So perhaps it's something in the workflow that is not capturing the information? You expect more. Okay. All right, hang on just a second. Let me just look over here for you. So I'm just not really, I mean, one of my colleagues probably can answer up here live too if you'd like to unmute yourself. But it might be in the manner in which the information is deposited. But I'm looking here now. Let's see what comes out. And if we're not able to get an answer for you, we can send an email off to our support team to figure out what's happening in your process, why the information you expect to see here is not here. Okay, bear with me just a minute. So it seems that, do you think that you should be seeing things like references and all of that? I'm trying to think what else we have here. Funding award information, so forth and so on. Yeah, there's a lot missing. So for that, Mohammed, what we can do is have you reach out to support. Oops. I'm just responding here, just a moment. Okay. Whoops. Okay, good. Excellent. And Camille, I think Rocio is responding to your question. Great. Okay. And there's also, Camille, there's also in chat. So I believe someone's answering you in the Q&A as well as chat. I think you may have went to both places here. Okay, Patricia, thank you for that. I assume that you used the participation report and realized there was a lot of information that's missing. So you're working with the support team to sort out why you are not seeing what you expect to see there. And I think, Mohammed, I think we sorted you out with. All right. And then let's see, any other questions? Okay. Oh, Mohammed. Okay. Do you have any LLM or AI tool in this space to leverage? I believe the answer is not at this time. Something that obviously we are looking into on the roadmap, but I'll see if my colleague Alex has more insight on that. If there's any more questions, there have been several questions answered. Great. Okay, you're welcome. So it looks like the chat has slowed down, as well as the Q&A box. Is our API free? Yes. Oops. Okay, over here. Mm-hmm. All righty. Okay, so looks like we're doing well with answering all of your questions so far. So if you are having a play with a look at your participation report or another organizations, what have you, and questions come up while you're looking at it, while we continue on with the session, again, please put them in the Q&A and we'll get them answered. If we don't get to your question today, we will share the output with that when we share out the recordings. All right, so Rocio, shall we continue on to the next slide when you have a moment? All righty, so just moving on here, and again, continue with your questions, and my colleagues will do their best to answer them. So what gaps do you have in your metadata? Okay, so as I touched on a little bit earlier, the other thing that you can do, and this may answer one of the questions now in the Q&A, hopefully. One of the other things that you can do with this new interface, which, many have, we've received lots of requests for, is to download a report. So you can access which DOIs are missing certain metadata fields and then integrate that into your workflow. And then you could just take action directly. And that's achieved by clicking the download gap report button. You'll see in the slide deck, there's an arrow pointing to it. And then next slide, when you have a moment, Rocio. Great, thank you. So when you click the download gap report button, this will show up here as a pop-up window. And this allows you to choose which metadata fields you're interested in. So for example, in this particular screenshot, we selected our ORCID and ROR IDs, okay? And then we also have some convenient selectors for you. If you just want everything, select all or nothing. But in this case, we've selected ORCID and ROR IDs. And then you want to choose a type of record you're interested in. In this example that we have here, we selected journal articles. And then you can choose a time period. So now we would default this to all time because it seems that most likely, people would want to receive information about records registered at any period of time. But you can filter that as you wish. So when you click on the download gap report button, it will go off and it will request from our API Live all of the metadata for that record type, which are missing the fields you requested. So in this case, it would show us the ORCID and ROR IDs that are missing because those are the fields that we selected. So if you're looking at your report now, go ahead and select a field, try this download gap report, and you see what comes up for you. And now when you make your selections and then you select the download gap report, a CSV file will download. And we've gone with CSV as a format as it's the most accessible format that can be read by most spreadsheet softwares. So when you click on the download gap button, it'll kind of fade out as you see in the screenshot. And then you see a little circular icon. That's just telling you that a report is being processed. And just to show you what that would look like, this is the report. And we've imported it. This screenshot would be Google Sheets. So it's very simple format, listing the DOI, the date that that record was created, and the field that's missing. So in this case, we can see there are ORCID IDs, and if you were to scroll down the report, and there would be other fields, like say ROR IDs, since those are the two fields that we selected. If there was missing information for RORs, you would see that further down the report. Let's see here. So, what you should be able to have up to 5,000 records in this report when you download it. If you require more records than that, we can provide that, but you'll need to request that directly from our support team. But hopefully, 5,000 is a good number to start with, and then you can start making improvements to your metadata coverage. Another small thing that I'd like to point out and show you here on the interface that we've implemented dark mode. So if you look at the very top, you see a little button. I think it's moon shape when it's in light mode where the arrow is pointing. And when you click on that, it switches to dark mode. So not only does this kind of satisfy those that like to work in dark mode, but it also helps with accessibility. You know, some people find working in dark mode interface is a lot easier to work with, or, you know, if it's after hours or something, it's just a much more enjoyable interface. And everything functions exactly the same, just like you would dark mode on anything else, any other device. You can download your gap reports and do everything else. It's just a different style. So, and if you want to revert back, you simply click that same icon again and it will switch back to light mode. All right, then. So let's talk about things that don't really fit neatly into the usual journal article workflow. Books, conference papers, preprints, peer reviews, grants, all the variety of scholarly outputs that people want DOIs for. So we made this decision tree so that it will kind of help you out so you don't really get stuck. At the top, we ask kind of first, are you using the OJS from PKP? If it's yes, great. You should definitely use the Crossref OJS plugin. Turn it on, and you're done. This will need to be updated periodically. So make sure that you've got the most recent version. And one of my colleagues will pop something in the chat to send you to documentation on our website about the latest version. If you're not using OJS, we want to know, are you comfortable writing or generating your own XML? If you are, fantastic. You've got two options. Upload the XML files whenever you want to and put it through our admin tool. Or if you want to automate everything, send the XML directly to our API with HTTPS post. Most larger publishers and platforms end up here because it scales well. No? XML makes you filled with anxiety or stressed or what have you, or you simply just don't have the technical resources to do it. Not a problem. But the exact tool depends on what kind of content you're registering. So if it's books, book chapters, conference papers, reports, dissertations, things like that, head to our web deposit form. You just fill out the online form, click on submit, and then we turn that into XML behind the scenes. If it's individual journal articles or research grants, awards, facilities, use the record registration form. And we have a new one, Metadata Manager 2.0, if you will. And again, 0 XML for you. If you're registering preprints, data sets, components, peer reviews, or posted standards, you will end up having to use XML. There is a no-code form for that content type yet. So most either generate the XML using a small script or use a community tool that will generate ready-to-go XML for you, and then you upload it using the admin tool that we have. We do have a new record registration form tool that you may have seen us talk about, and it does accept metadata for journal articles and grants at this time. So the big takeaway is whether you're a one-person operation or a larger platform, whether you love to do code or you don't, there's a path that fits for you. So when you're filling in the gaps, we hope that you will do so. Make sure that you include these metadata elements in your future DOI registrations. Okay, so again, when you're updating DOI records one by one, if you use the OJS plugin, go into the relevant article, unpublish, add the missing element, save, republish. If you use a helper tool, redeposit the whole record with the missing element. If you send us XML, send us your XML record with the missing element, and don't forget to update your timestamp. We do have OJS-focused webinars, so just keep an eye out for them. We do have an events page, which is crossref.org/events, and there we will have webinars that are focused on that particular plugin. We do direct mail to people, let them know that that's happening, as well as social media. I think we're pretty much done for the year, but we will have a new bulk of webinars scheduled for the first quarter starting in January. Keep an eye out for that. If you're uploading in bulk, certain elements can be uploaded by bulk by using a CSV file on the web deposit form. So those will be funding data, similarity check URLs, text and data mining URLs, license information. And if you need some help with that, again, contact our fantastic support team. They'd be happy to help you. Okay, well, we're coming very close to the end of our session today. I hope that this was helpful for you all. I see there's lots of questions, so hopefully we're able to answer them. Here's some helpful links to our documentation. You can also go to our community forum to start a discussion there, and we will pick it up. You can also just contact us. There's a link to contact us on our website. And if you registered for this event, but you're not online right now because your intention is to watch it later, we are having an event in Bangkok, Crossref Bangkok, the end of January, 29 January 2026. So if you're going to be in the area at that time, there's the link. You can also, again, find that on our events page. We hope that you will register and join us. We will share the recording. When you have a chance, Rocio, we're going to wrap up here. We will share the recording and the slides in a few days. But other than that, I think we'll wrap. I'll just take a look at the last bit of questions here to make sure everything gets answered. Thank you all for joining us today, and good luck with improving your metadata. And we'll hold tight just for a moment if you'd like. There's an OJS question. We'll do our best to answer it. Someone is answering that, and then we'll close. Thanks all.
Okay, I think that we managed to answer all questions, unless there are any last minute questions coming in. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Alex. We left some resources there, some links and some email available to you. So yeah, anything else, please just drop us an email. We'll do the best to get back to you. As Rosa said, we'll be sharing the recording, so you can get back to the webinar whenever you want. So thank you very much. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.